guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda, and today I wanted to talk about a few things that I think can really help if you are in college, you have an exam coming up, you have a paper, finals week, all of those stressful things that can happen in a college kid's life. And I made a few things that I think can really help you and maybe take some of the stress off of you right now, even if you procrastinated, even if you are not doing so well in that class right now. These tips will help you. So yeah, if you're interested in hearing what I have to say, then keep on watching. Okay, before we get started, I feel like there's something really important that I need to note, and that is knowing that you are trying your best. The world is not going to end if you don't get the grade that you want in this class. And I know that it's super stressful and it's super life-consuming, and you feel like after this week or after this paper or after this exam, if you don't make it, then you're done, like it's over with. But you're doing everything that you can, so don't kill yourself over this. It's just one class or whatever it is. So, don't kill yourself over this. And that's the first thing that I want to just note before getting started. Okay guys, so my first tip would be going to a tutor or talking to someone in your class that you feel like really has a grasp on what's going on. And that's something that has helped me so much whenever I don't really know what's going on. I haven't been paying attention, I procrastinated, anything like that, because that going and talking to someone about it and someone that understands it, even if it takes a few hours or whatever it is, you will have a greater understanding of what you don't know. Or if you already kind of have an idea, but you're still feeling iffy and you need someone to study with or something, go to a tutor or go talk to another classmate. I think that will really help you. Okay guys, so the next thing is using the resources that your professor gave to you, such as like practice quizzes or anything like that. And by using those resources, two things that I've noticed a huge difference with not only me, but any of my other classmates or anything like that, is repetition and being able to have a conversation about what subject you're talking about, even if it's math. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but just think about US history. That was something that I really needed to have conversations with people about. And even if they had no idea what I was talking about, like my mom, she would be cooking dinner or something, and I would be like, okay mom, so let me tell you about Christopher Columbus. And so I would sit there and she would have flashcards and she would say, okay, Queen Isabella or whoever, and so then she'd be like, tell me about her. So I would sit there and I would explain what I needed to know and everything like that, and she would have on the back like my notes, and so she could kind of see if I had an understanding of what I needed to know, because you need to know the material. You don't just want to just keep ramming it into your head and then you don't really understand it, because you never know with your professor if he might switch it up on you or she might switch it up on you. But also, it is important to be repetitive, especially if there's something specifically that you're struggling with. Like you need to make sure that you're going over that as much as possible, but you really need to know, like, have an understanding of what you're learning. And like, let's say it's math or something that seems like a little bit more complicated about having a conversation with. You just have a math problem and just talk to whoever you're doing and show them your work and say, okay, so this is how I'm going to do this, and just do it like that, but explain to them as you're doing it. And that, I think you will see a huge difference with being able to, with studying or anything like that, because you will know what you're studying and the material that you need to learn. Okay, so the next thing is super important, and that is getting enough sleep. Now, I know you're a college kid. I'm sure you have plenty of things going on, but in order to be productive the next day and to actually learn and do good on whatever you're doing, you can't be pulling all-nighters every night. You need to get some sleep. It's really important to your health, to your brain. You're not going to learn if you're running on like 2 hours of sleep every night. Okay, so the next thing is if you've been studying nonstop for a while and you feel like I keep going over this and it's not making any sense. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing, but nothing is making sense. Take a break. And by that I mean go for a walk, go work out, go get something to eat, and try to give your brain a second to relax and then go back to it, and then you will feel refreshed and you'll really be able to absorb it. Because if you're constantly just hitting your brain with information constantly, it's going to need a break. It's just like anything else in your body. It needs a second to just relax in order for it to perform the way that it needs to. So give yourself a break, take some time, go for a walk, go do something that's going to take your mind off of everything for a second, and then go back and try again. And I'm sure you'll see a huge difference with how you're absorbing the information that you need for your exam or for whatever it is. Okay, so the next one is super important, and that is your mind is so powerful and you are in control over what can happen. You can do it. You can learn what you need to learn, and you will figure this out if you really put in the effort and the work, even if you procrastinated, anything like that. But you have to be in control, and with stress and anxiety and everything else that comes along with exams, finals week, paper, it can absorb everything and just make you freak out. But you have to stay in control because you are in control and you can do it. So just put in the work, and then if you feel the anxiety and the nervousness coming on, take a second, breathe, and remember that you are not going to let this stop you from getting your good grade, and that you're not going to stop this from inhibiting you from performing at your best, because you can do it. And stress and anxiety is not going to stop you from getting the grade that you want. Okay, so the next thing is actually a tip that my mom gave me a while back, and I think that it actually makes so much sense. And look at finals week specifically as a marathon, or as with exams or anything like that. I have my notes down here, that's why I keep looking down here, but you don't want to go into a marathon sprinting and running as hard as you can, because you're going to get fatigued. You're not going to finish the race, or if you do, it's going to be half-assed. You're not going to be able to perform at your best if you start out with everything that you have right away. So you need to start out prioritizing what's important and coming up with a game plan so you're efficient with your time, because you can't just be so, oh my God, I have to do all these things at once. You have to say, okay, this is what I need to get done. This is how I'm going to do it. And this is what's important. And you have to look at it as a marathon. So you have to be strategic. You have to use your time wisely. And the next thing is that if you have trouble focusing on studying or anything like that, what I had to do, especially if I had roommates, or if I always had like social things going on around me, or if I had plans or whatever, I made sure that I set out from a certain amount of time to another certain amount of time. This is my time to study and do work and do whatever I have to do to get done, and it's not negotiable. This is the time that I have to work, and after that I can go live my best life. I can do whatever I want, or whatever, if I get what I needed to get done. But between that time, I have to say no to hanging out with anyone. I have to prepare for these few hours, and that was the time that you spend doing your work. And if you do something like that, it'll really make you see that you can get it done in a certain amount of time, and this doesn't have to be a constant struggle, and you can still have a life outside of this exam that's coming up, you know, whatever it is. If you give yourself enough time to prepare and that's all that you're doing and focusing on in that moment, then I think you'll see a huge difference. I did, and that's something that I still do now, and I think is super important. Okay, so the next thing is test day, exam day, whatever. So you need to make sure that you ate. And I'm sure that you've probably heard that before, but you can't think on an empty stomach, even if you're nervous. I have been there before where you were so nervous about a test or an exam and you're just like, I can't even eat. Like, I just need to get up and go and take it. But you need to try to eat, eat something that makes you feel good, that makes you happy. And you need to breathe before your test. And that is super important. When you're sitting there and you're about to start, take a few deep breaths. And I know that sounds like but it will lower your blood pressure, it'll calm you down, and just take a few deep breaths. And something that one of my professors that had told me before taking an exam, and you're really nervous and that's all that you can think about, and you're just like driving to where you need to get to, or you're walking and you're just like freaking out, listen to something funny. Like, put on a funny podcast. I don't really ever listen to podcasts. I don't know why I suggest a podcast, but like put on a funny video or, whatever, and listen to something funny to take your mind off of it right before, because you've done all the planning. You've done everything that you can in that moment. So you're not going to learn like all this crazy information like 5 minutes before your test. So go listen to something funny, something that will calm you down so you're not as tense when you start this test, because you do not want to start this test and you're sitting there like, like you don't want to do that. So you want to breathe and listen to something funny. Listen to something that's going to take your mind off of it. Maybe some music, whatever helps you just calm down before the test. All right, guys, so that's about all that I have to say about this subject, and I actually have to go do homework right now, so I need to go do that. But I wish you good luck on your exams, on your paper, finals week, college in general. You got this. Have some confidence in yourself, and you will do good if you put in the effort and work. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video, if you like me. But yeah, all right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.